Hello and welcome to podcast 371 of 5-Star Potential, your weekly Football Manager podcast. I'm Doop, and on this week's pod, I'm delighted to be welcomed by a pair of Football Manager legends. The special guests this week are Jack Work the Space and Dr. Benjy. How are we doing, gents? We good?
Yeah, very good. Good to be
Very
here.
well, very well. Yeah, thanks for having us, Doopy.
I didn't put them in that order, by the way. Ben, I would say you're probably my favourite. Jack's probably second.
All right, it's been a good podcast.
I would have had it the other way.
That's the view of most people, but Jack has got a sort of a knowledge that I don't possess, which makes him a better person for any podcast revolving around Football Manager. So, you know, the perfect combination in a way, Jack. Right?
Package deal, really. Aren't
We're touring. Well, again, Jack can't do anything without an assistant, and I can't do anything without a carer to make sure I continue to do this. So we're sort of we're working well together at the moment. Yeah, we're bound. So we are.
I like it. Yeah, it is. It was quite easy just to round you up. I will also say Jack took about 3 hours to come back to say yes, we can have Ben on at the same time. I did ask permission, so he was very keen for it, Ben. So there you go. Look, it's good. It's nice.
3 hours.
It took 3 hours for him to respond.
What were you debating?
It said typing for a long time.
I think I typed it, then got distracted, tabbed out, probably did something and I just forgot about it. I'm really bad for that.
To be fair, Ben, if I'm not talking about Minecraft to Jack, then he's not really.
Or BattleBots. You're not getting a response quickly.
I've missed BattleBots, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about.
I'll talk about the impending doom of a future Football Manager. Then he's not really listening either.
Yeah, no, true. And if he's not leaking the release date. Anyway, have we had a good date? Have we had a good week this week, gents? Anything exciting happen?
Oh, I did the time of my life yesterday. I went to watch the Jonas Brothers at the O2 instead of watching Liverpool play.
We're busted there.
Busted and the Jonas Brothers performed Year 3000. To be honest, after that song, didn't know the rest of them. But it was all right.
I honestly don't think I could seriously guess any other songs, or I don't know. I don't even know who are the Jonas Brothers.
Nick Jonas, Joe Jonas, and the other one, the other Jonas.
Ugly one, Kevin.
Kevin Jonas. Sorry, Kevin.
The one who he doesn't really do anything.
You can't call him the ugly one. You are in no position to call any of the Jonas Brothers ugly.
Look, I've done it now. I'm sorry, Kevin. It's something about people called Kevin. It's Kevin Magnuson, Kevin Jonas, Kevin Chapman.
Yes, one of our favourite Kevins.
If you want to be the judge of that, we are actually over on YouTube. Look at that. That's a nice little segue to that. You can come and make the decision whether Jack's ugly or not. Jack?
Yeah,
Jack Jonas.
10 out of 10
I probably agree with that.
10 out of 10. He's rating himself 10 out of 10. That is bold, to be fair.
Ben, my question to you is, can you beat the Jonas Brothers and Busted singing Year 3000?
Well, what I've been doing recently, I've been recovering from an illness my child gave me, having gone to school for the first time, and he just brings it back like in the book bag. He opens the book bag, the illness comes out, I get it. And so yeah, I'm enjoying it. Other than that, I'm back in the Football Manager scene, Deep. And if that's not as good as the Jonas Brothers returning to London, then I don't know what is. But I'm actually I'm actually loving it still. I was quite nervous that I'd have, when you sort of have that feeling of, I've been to an event, that was great, I'll go home, it'll still be great. And then after like 3 days, you're like, this actually isn't great. And I really wish I hadn't made a fuss on Twitter. But actually, I'm having a bloody wonderful time. So yeah, all's good.
To be fair, I've been in a few of your streams this week. I've been enjoying the meltdown with Brighton, which I'm sure we'll get to sometime during the pod. Didn't catch any of the sporting one. I think that must.
Well, I'm happy to talk. I tell you now, Deep, I am happy to talk about it. By all means, Jack, would you like to discuss the sporting challenge?
The Indonesian tactic's really good, isn't it? It's very good. The 4-2-3 one they've got. I mean.
Yes, I can confirm it. And do you know what that is? That's good managerial ability, to be able to look at other managers and decide, you know what, I should adopt that for my style.
I love the idea. Pep Guardiola goes into the away dressing room, just looks at the whiteboard they've left out for the opposition manager to copy. He goes, yeah, we'll have that for next time.
Well, that's pretty much what Ange has done, copying Pep, right? So he's basically just going, yeah, I'm going to try and be Pep because Pep's really good. And so he's not doing it nearly as well, but managers do this, so I think it's fine.
Arteta does it at Arsenal. That's literally Pep.
There you go.
Right?
More evidence is unearthed. Good.
Well,
but go on,
touch upon sporting shortly. But no, I've enjoyed it. It's good to see some of the guys, obviously, in your stream and in your chat, bullying you at times, which is always quite fun to watch.
Regularly,
yeah. A little bit selfishly, we mentioned it on a few pods about myself. I actually participated in my 100-kilometer walk, and I absolutely smashed it. I completed it in a time of 20 hours and 10 minutes.
Is that continuous or is that over?
So the race time is 20 hours and 10 minutes. The total time is 24 hours, 45 minutes. So you are allowed to stop
in the middle.
Yeah, there's 7 rest stops. So at each rest stop, I spent around about 17 minutes doing like my rehearsed kind of change socks, get drink, have a wee, get a coffee, get on, carry on walking.
Wow.
It is insane, and it was bloody amazing. And I tell you what, it's great for the mind, the body, and the soul. And I am not an emotional person. I've been through a lot in my life, and I don't cry at anything. But I cried like a little baby when my little boys ran up to me at the finish line. So it shows,
That's beautiful.
it's
Beautiful.
nuts.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I've also booked some more, so that's always good.
Yeah. I'll be honest, the Jonas Brothers and that really do make my return to football manager seem quite petty, don't they? You mentioned yours was quite selfish there, Doop, but actually yours was an amazing achievement of something that you'll talk about for the rest of your life. Mine was a return to a game that I've been playing for a decade.
It sounds like we've both overcome something amazing, though. Like you've overcome that sickness, and the thing is you say you're getting over it. As a parent of 2 children, it's just the start, Ben. Next week it'll be a different illness. The week after that it'll be a different illness, and you'll be able to kind of have a catalogue of that.
I'm looking forward to blaming those illnesses on my continual disruptive schedule of football manager throughout the next 12 months.
Easy.
That will be attacked viciously by YouTube comments. And so, what's not to look forward to? Do you know what I mean? What a thrill that's set to be over the next few weeks and months.
The YouTube comments are normally an awful place to be, but surely they can't take it out on a child. Do you know what I mean? They surely.
I don't think they see. That's the problem, Duke. They don't see me as a child anymore, and so at that point, they come for me. They go for the throat, and so previously they saw me as the young, up and coming, sprightly, work the space destroyer. Now they see me as an ally as we continue to fight the monster that is the American assassin, Zealand the Cannon Shannon. So work to be done there, right, Jack? He's nodded there, which is not good for a podcast.
Sorry, yes. I just felt really motivated. I thought you had more to say on how you're going to get rid of Z. I don't want to ruin his moment. He's on a roll here. He's flowing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think pairing him up more, which we'll get onto later about the network game with Kev, is probably enough to destroy any man. So hopefully that is the tactic.
No, there's no, again, it depends whether Indonesia have come up with it or not, whether I use it as a tactic, because that is my new philosophy. So if it's good enough for Indonesia, it's good enough for me. That's not a problem.
I'll also say, just on a side note, we'll cut this bit out of the pod. Just can you send me the details of the corner tactic that you used? Because it looks really good.
It's quite good.
I want to take it to my Atalanta save. That'd be great.
There's multiple versions of front post. We're not cutting that out, by the way. There's multiple versions of
Dave cuts nothing out.
I was going to say multiple versions of it. Just
he skipped over this bit. He doesn't know this bit was in the
amount of people that go, "What's the corner tactic?" You just put 3 big blokes at the front post. You put someone short on the corner, and you whip it in.
No. It's far more sophisticated than that.
It's not, is it? It's not.
But you have one person go to the near post, 2 to the back post, and then you have one person mark the goalkeeper with everyone else at the edge. But the key is if you've got 2 really good players in the air, you actually put your best aerial threat at the far post and still cross it to the near post, because the AI will always put their tallest players at the back post to cover the tall guy. So your second best header is always free at the near post.
You're decoying it with your best player at the back, but going near post with your not so good players.
Second one, best one.
That's
what I do.
They're both good. But you could, in theory, just put your best header out second anyway.
Yeah, you could. It's just a case of however you want to do it.
Very clever.
But even if you put your best at second, then they would still mark him as the main threat, because AI doesn't know the order that you hierarchy them in. Anyway, this is really nerdy speak, but I guess
this is a Football Manager podcast.
It's a Football Manager podcast, mate. You're probably allowed. You can download that at FM Scout. It is called the Indonesian Corner Tactic. Feel free to go and download and sort it out. So all of it. So go check all that out. Right, let's jump into a little bit about Football Manager and a bit more about what you guys have been up to. Ben, you mentioned earlier about your return. Sport. Well, I mentioned sporting and Brighton. We don't need to talk about what you're playing. What is your on-stream save apart from the network save at the moment?
Yeah, well, I've taken the plunge. I ignored the Barclaysman thing that's going on Twitter for ages. I was like, do you know what? I'm above that. I'm not above it at all. I'm very much involved and I'm deeply in love with it. Having met Sam Allardyce at the FIFA World Cup, I was inspired. And Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It was like meeting a different era of football. With the people that were there, it was like, this is my era. These are my people. And with all that in mind, and my recent, when you just go on one of those days where you're like, I'm going to watch loads of JJ Okocha. Well, that was where I went the other day. And ever since that moment, I'm like, I need to rescue Bolton for some reason. I need to do something with Bolton. So I've gone to Bolton and I've decided because I've got a bit of a reputation for signing old players that are stupidly in teams they really don't belong.
Yep.
And I've followed that up. James Tompkins has joined. Like, you remember not the Portuguese, the Mexican right back Leon, who was at like Porto.
Oh, Diego?
Manuel Leon or something. Anyway, like right-sided Mexican player, like very well known, but like 36
What's really sad
now.
is I can remember his polygon in the old Football Manager.
Yeah, there you go. You are a loser. And then with him, I've got Josh Onoma in as well, who's obviously quite good still. Dele Alli,
right?
Yeah. Dele Alli. So a combination of that, and then to seal it, I brought in Andres Iniesta to Bolton.
Oh, what was a coach?
No. JJ Kocher and Jimmy Ford Hasselbank have come as coaches. My front four is what's his name? Oh crumbs, I forgot his name. Scott Arfield, who was previously at Rangers, went to America. Yeah. Bolton have got him on 20 grand a week in League One. It's a nightmare. Then I've got Dele Alli on 7.5, Iniesta on 5, and then Josh Onoma on like 5 as well. So my front four, deadly.
This is the most Dr. Benjy save I've ever heard of.
It's honestly, it's unbelievably good. James Tompkins at the back if needs be. Kyle Bennett, I think, as well. Kyle Barnett is at the back as well. Who else am I going to sign? It's so good. Also, by the way, top of the league by like 5 points in League One after 20 games. So yeah, not only am I, I'll say it bluntly, right? Not only am I cocking around, it's going brilliantly well, and I'm having so much fun. It's outrageous.
And let's be completely honest. League One is a top quality division, and anyone that beats them in any sort of competition is clearly a very good team. Especially if you're going to put 7 past them, any League One opposition. So yeah, no, I like it. It's a good division. It's a good standard of football, Ben. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm making it look like an awful standard, Doop, which obviously you don't agree with, but I'm making it look that way. And so yeah, I'm dominating and destroying League One game at a time with the Bolton side. It's funny. There's an Indonesian influence over the side. I will say how much. But what I did was I changed one position and renamed the tactic Benjy time. And so anyone that comes into the stream knows that is a Benjy creation. And
love it.
Although I did buy the Indonesian flag recently, just in case people doubted my allegiance to the cause. Just in case I don't want to be judged really. But as you can tell, Deep, I'm enthused by a Football Manager save in September. Now, who'd have had that on there?
I was going to say that's a rare and dangerous thing.
Yeah, but all you have to do, and this is a pro tip to anyone, just don't play the game for 10 months, and then by the time it comes on September, you're gagging for it. So yeah, some advice for all Football Manager players out there: sick of it, stop playing it.
To be fair, we've still got like 5 months of the game cycle apparently.
As few as 5.
League, so we got loads of time.
Wow, you can tell Nick Madden left and you don't want him on the pod. Look at you guys have changed.
Wow, God, I miss that man so much. If you are listening, Nick, which is ridiculous because you are listening, I love you, Nick.
We love Nick. We love Nick Madden.
I really do. No, cool. I love it, and I love the enthusiasm, of course. I just want to know, like, who else is on that shortlist of overaged players?
Well, the thing is, right? They were both free. And I went through so I tried to sign it. So we've just done the network save, right? With spoilers, where I'm managing United. Tried to bring Iniesta in, wants 110 grand. Dele Alli, 85 grand. And in the same season, essentially, I've gone and bought them in at Bolton. So what I had to do was wait for them to not get a club throughout the entire transfer window. And then just after deadline day, where they realised we aren't getting a club, I swooped in and made the move. And then I got them both in. So who's next? Oh, frankly, I mean, whoever I like, because the project is the project. Yuri Djorkaeff, Ivan Campo, JJ Kocher. Do you know what I mean? Jainu Listokopoulos, or whatever his name was. I forget how to say it, but it was Greek, wasn't it? I'll bring anybody in.
Isn't Morten Gamps Pedersen still playing? I know he was Blackburn, but he's from that era.
18 corners, we considered it, but we actually considered that we can't really get him.
Isn't he still playing like in his 40s now?
I saw it. Somebody's got him on stream. I was in somebody's stream the other day, and they have him playing at centre mid.
Yeah, we nearly went in for Matty James. Remember Matty James?
Yeah,
went in for Matty James. Concluded, you know what? Let's not play silly. Let's take this seriously. Let's turn that one down. But the rest of the boys, it's absolutely cooking. Anytime we do any sort of passing move, it's like that's Iniesta doing that. That's what we're about. He's on a 6.5 and has only scored penalties. But I'll tell you what, he's been brilliant in the 11 games that I've forced him to play.
I love it. I'm just looking through now on my save of players that you could sign. Nani's still available, by the way.
Well, I'm gonna. Do you know what? If you're gonna make me load up, Doop, I'll load up and have a look because now
Yeah,
you've got
please
me
do.
wondering who's available. I'll go investigate.
I'm
And then I'll let you know after Jack's had a chat.
Yeah, we can go. We'll go to, or if we have to, we'll go to Jack next. But
If we have to. Sorry, Nick, that was a great segue. If you fight him on, we've got him as a guest. If we've got to speak to him, we'll speak to him. Is what it
if
is.
we have to, you know. What I mean?
I'm just here to make sure Ben doesn't say anything out of order.
Like,
Yeah, it's nerd phonics,
Like
like
his
just to make sure I stop
publicist.
leaking stuff. Yeah, fair enough.
to be fair, Jack's better at leaking stuff anyway. So Jack, we might as well jump on to you.
Hello, mate.
How are you? Are you good? Are you well? This
I'm
feels
good,
like
yeah. I'm at the opposite point with Ben, where it's like I've had enough of Football Manager for the year, and this is the point where normally I get ready to have my nice like month-long break, you know, end of September through to whenever the early access, you can't call it beta anymore, is, and got to play it for another month. So got the network game fired up. No, don't get me wrong. I had a lovely time playing Football Manager still, but I think there's a lot of people probably like me, probably listening to Ben getting all excited, thinking that was me at the start of the year, whereas I'm a more...
3 words, Jack. Marco van Ginkel's on the market. And so I won't rule anything out at this point. Anyway, so I just saw him at the top. Jack and me have got a history of Marco van Ginkel.
Okay. It's a
classic.
During a network game, ironically. But yeah, horrible.
I can't wait to see you buy a Bolton shirt with the name on the back. That's all I'm saying.
Already ordered it, mate. Iniesta 8 on the back of a...
I'll tell you what,
Bolton
imagine
shirt.
the poor person who works at Bolton thinks, have we signed Iniesta?
Fuck that. Imagine the poor person at British Art Foundation in 8 years' time when they pick up a Iniesta 8 shirt from Bolton.
Oh, mate.
What the fuck did they sign him?
Amazing. Oh, why is there a bed sheet in this? Oh, never mind. No, it's fair enough. Exciting stuff. Honestly, I could not be happier. So, that's going to be ordered very, very soon. I promise to stream that. So we're getting an Iniesta Bolton shirt.
It's going to be really awkward when he retires like midway through the year.
Do you know what it is? It's a really... We've all been there as well. All 3 of us, I reckon. It's a really funny joke when you're like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get an Iniesta shirt for Bolton. Then you realise it's 75 quid and halfway through you're like, oh, this is stupid, isn't it? This is how many gifted subs? This is a stupid thing to do. Just for a joke. Just to have an Iniesta Bolton shirt you can't wear in public because it's Iniesta Bolton. Definitely worth it regardless. Sorry, Jack, I just got excited by seeing
No. Well, speaking of shirts, I got a lovely England shirt for representing them at the World Cup, but it's the latest England shirt, not a cheap thing. But on the back, it just has Jack-WTS. It's like...
That's cool. That's cool. No, of course you can.
I feel like, just work the space, just WTS, just Jack.
Don't be ashamed of your roots. That's who you are.
Yeah, or turn it inside out and put an eye on it. You can.
You probably can't wear it in an England game.
Is that how it works, Doop? Have you done that before?
Yeah, definitely. You can get them off. And then,
This sounds like it's been added content. I'm going to post it to you, Doop, to remove in a future episode.
You could probably read. I'm just trying to look at now at what words you could write. You're a couple of letters short from what I want to write, to be fair. And I'll let you think about that. Well, that is. So, what have you done?
So, I've done my classic Park to Prem. That wrapped up. I thought, you know what, we'll go to Japan. So we've done a lower league Japan save.
Yeah.
Started down in the crazy non-leagues. Had some fun there, but it is getting to that point that I think most save games get to if you're not playing in the Premier League, where you just all the other AI teams have so much money, they're always going to have an okay squad, where I am now just the best team in Japan. So it's all just about trying to win the Champions League once, because there's like the East and West split.
Yeah.
So I don't meet any of the Saudi or Gulf nations until the final. So it's basically like, we're smashing, the South Korean teams, the Thai teams, the Australian teams, and then Neymar rocks up for the final.
Neymar. Thank you, Jack. 2 seconds.
So I'm at that point.
Utterly disgusting, Jack. I had a few stints in Japan for my Pentagon Challenge save that I did, and it was just so frustrating that you get to these finals, and to be fair, you'll be quick to say this, that the new gens that come through in Japan are utterly insane.
Yeah. So I'm using a database mod that adds like the high school and university teams to the game. So there's even more of those players that come through. Like some of them are like really early bloomers, because in real life, Japan operates a lot like the USA does with like a collegiate system. Football Manager just doesn't have that because of licensing reasons. But there's like some really well put together like Japanese community mods basically that update it all. And yeah, like you said, a few years in, you start to get these crazy new gens, and they come through the university teams, a bit like how Matoma did in real life.
Yeah.
And I'm now at a point where, because I'm one of the best teams in Japan, I kind of get free pick of them. So as soon as they're like, they can turn pro and play men's football, I'm able to sign them up. But yeah, like you said, you get a crazy team. You can smash everyone around you, but especially because in my save game, I've actually got like the Saudi League, for example, playable and loaded.
Okay.
So they're absolutely stacked with talent. I've not yet made it to a Champions League final, but what I did with this year's Park to Prem was I basically made it so it's when I get to a Champions League final, that's the last episode.
Right.
Which I kind of like because it basically means that if I lose it, the legacy is I bottled a Champions League final. And if I win it, like there's that the game means a bit more. And I think also it's kind of nice to have an end point. I don't feel like I need that as someone who plays Football Manager, but I'm sure you guys can attest to it, having done content, both streaming and videos. Often viewers are like, what's the goal of the save, or when does it end? And I found that with stuff like Park to Prem, people go, well, you got to the Prem now, you've done your goal, because they take the name a bit too literally. Whereas I think when it's like, we have one shot in a Champions League final, then the series ends. Like, it's like, it's almost nice to have that line drawn in the sand. And I kind of like that as an endpoint. This year, I got to the Champions League final and bottled it. And I thought at the time, I was like, am I going to regret like this decision I've made now? But actually, in a weird way, I feel like I can end a save game with a bit of an interesting ending, or it's that you get to that point where you win all the trophies 3 years in a row, and it's just a bit boring to play at that point, at least for me. That's not why I play Football Manager.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
I've kind of hit that point with Japan. I mean, recently, so like literally last night at midnight, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do like a director of football save, but just in Gibraltar. That's what I'm going to do with my free time. And I've just been speed running it. And I'm in 2029. I've got about 6 hours of playtime. So I played for about a season every hour. I've got 22 million in the bank. I've just gone pro. And I'm actually sat right at the moment thinking, do I want to try and do a thing where I try and win a Champions League with a Gibraltar club in one sitting? So I sit
Is that
down.
a bit like the Pentagon challenge that you promised everyone that you would stream?
Yeah, well, I'd argue it's harder with well, maybe it's not, but I think it could work better. So to never say never. At the moment, I'm just enjoying it though. I've never really done I don't know if you guys have done like director of football saves before, where like you just kind of do the transfers on holiday the seasons. It's never been something I've done, but I think with this Gibraltar save, I play through the European qualifiers, and then because the group stage is so long and the expectations aren't that high at the moment, it's kind of like I just sim it all. But it's actually been quite a fun way of playing the game.
Hey, mate, each their own, isn't it? You know, some people play it properly and some people play it your way. So it's up to you, mate, really. But no, it's we had Clates on last week, and Clates was talking about how he made videos on that sort of thing. I've not actually seen them, but I've heard some really good things about them. That director of football thing, I'm assuming where you're simming, you're giving everything to the assistant manager, so that's then the actual manager, right? So you're trying to get the best out of the last man you can. Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a different way of playing, and especially if you're a very good squad builder or a team builder, and you just can't be asked with the tactics, or you just download some Indonesian tactic, then it would work quite nicely, right? I mean, I had some fun. I had some fun with my Cirencester Town save. I got to a Champions League final. I had to go play it again. I couldn't not. I lost on penalties. So then it was like 2 seasons before I got to the next one. I don't know how you can do that on your Park to Prem and just leave it there, because for me, it took 20 seasons to get to that stage, to a point where, we're in a completely new stadium. We are one of the best teams in the world. We are struggling like hell to win that Champions League. We kind of get to the finish line and we just fall at the final hurdle. And then to kind of go, okay, well, that was that. So that was good fun. And walk away just seems like...
I think for me,
Jack,
it's just
come
because
on,
I've done
you got
that.
to do a little bit more.
I think it's because I've done that save so many times before. Like, I almost feel like, to me, I don't have that point to prove. It's the jeopardy, but it's also, we've all been in that situation where you're doing a save game on Twitch or on YouTube. It's like, I really want to win the Champions League to be the end goal, but you set it as the end goal, and you might be dominating everything else, and it's really boring. But for one reason or another, you just can't quite get over the line. You just get unlucky with sendings off or whatever, and you're like, well, I guess we're going to go again next year. And you end up you can do 4 or 5 more seasons before you win the Champions League. And at that point, it's not fun.
So you have watched my videos?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
occasionally.
basically every long-term save I've ever done.
But that was basically the conclusion I came to. Is I like the idea of having this finality of like, it's a do or die game. It's a much bigger deal. People tune in for that because from the outset it's been like, that will be the last game. Obviously, if you lose it, it can be a bit like, But at the same time, I think often for me, when I'm like 12 years into a save game, assuming I've not rocketed up and like I'm in a Champions League final after 2 seasons in the Premier League, which hasn't happened yet, it's like that's not really a problem. Because I know some people love to get to that end point of a Sega and then just steamroll everyone and kind of have a dynasty. And I think for a while I wanted to have that, but once you've kind of done it once, it's kind of hard to fail in Football Manager, especially in the Premier League with all the money that you get. It's very rare you get sacked in that kind of save game. And so it's like just that last little way of injecting a bit of jeopardy, I think.
I ended the second Thames series, by winning the Europa League. So that's how you know when there's a save, when a save is ended. No, I'm not proud of myself, but it is, you know.
Hey, it's European silverware. No one can take that away from you.
That's what I told the comment section, Jack. Would they listen? No, they would not. I tried everything. But yeah.
It is, no, it's nice though, isn't it? It's like I said, it's nice to have. And maybe like next year, if you do the similar save, you've got that you want to beat last year's, right? You want to kind of do better than what you did last year.
It's like, I want to win it this year. And if you lose a few, like, you get this reputation of just choking every final that you make. But
again, thanks for watching.
You watched Ben in the Streamer Showdown.
I was going to say thanks, Jack. It's honestly great to be back. He's not looking at me when he says it either. Do you know what the worst bit is? He's just sort of saying it like someone out there's probably like that.
Not me.
Internal giggling.
Well, as you're talking about your head-to-head, and I think it's only fair after today when we've been recording this, you've been on a monster stream, the pair of you, with two other lads, doing a network save. Do you want to talk to us a bit about it, Ben? Do you want to kind of tell us how it...
Well,
I came in late to the stream, so I don't even know how you ended up with Man United, but I want to know that story.
Oh, don't even get me started on that kerfuffle. Do you know what? When I decided to come out to content, I sort of wanted to hit everything I could possibly do, right? I have a stream save. YouTube save, I'm sort of a bit passive on because I don't know what the reception will be like, and I'm not trying to force something out to people that frankly can't be bothered to watch a YouTube save at this point of the year. I know how that goes, so I'm not going to force one of those out. But yeah, it was one of my first thoughts was having been, again, it all stemmed from being at this World Cup thing, right, and being around creators and wanting to be around creators and do stuff with them. And there's no one better really than picking the three boys that I've done it with before. So trying to get them to agree was a pain in the ass, frankly. Everyone was a little bit like, Kev was like, yeah, of course I'll do it. I've got loads, yeah, whatever. Whereas Jack's a little bit like,
you could add him in the title because I thought he was here then.
Yeah, you know, it's quite easy. You just do something from Rainbow.
Great reference.
Yeah, so Jack was a bit of an arm twister because Jack had previously said he would never do the network game.
Well, it's more I've just not streamed Football Manager, but like you, like the World Cup made me go, oh, actually, I do kind of miss doing this a little bit.
There you go. And then getting Z to agree. Getting Z to agree is not the problem. Getting Z to reply to anything is the problem.
And then turn up on time when it's been organised.
Yeah, which sort of didn't work today, but we'll see. You know,
we tried.
Next week's another week. Do you know what I mean? We tried. So yeah, getting them to agree was the hardest challenge. But actually, I don't know if Jack felt like this. I was like 45 minutes into it today, and I thought, I'm so glad we did this because
it just went all tits up, didn't it?
Which is what you kind of. Which the viewers want that. Viewers want it to be a bit chaotic, and they don't want it to be plain sailing. And there seems to be some real anger from Kev, which I never expected, just about literally everything. We've basically said you can't do installments, and that ruins Kev's entire ideology of how to play the game. So he doesn't know what to do with himself. Team-wise, so we put our names on a wheel. We did classic Streamer Showdown style. Put our names on a wheel. Put the teams that we could select. We changed the database slightly, so only the Champions League is available, but it's Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Retro Champions League 4. The old big, actually, it's the old big 4, isn't it? I just realised. So yeah, because people probably forget that before it was the big 8, the big 6. It was the big 4, wasn't it? It was those 4.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Take me back.
Yeah, well, I'm trying, mate. Bolton, Iniesta, Ali.
You've not been listening, Jack.
Cryo freeze.
I'm trying to go back to those days for people in their 30s.
Is Pascal Chimponda available?
No, I've just searched him.
I did a video with Luke Pingo recently, and he came up in my selections. But yeah, what was I going to say? So we had Jack to get Liverpool, which we all hate him already because he's got quite clearly the easiest job and can't mess it up. I've got Man United, which I'm absolutely furious about, considering it's the save that killed my YouTube channel 10 months ago. And I've got to resurrect the demons. When I got it, there was just this feeling of, I've been here before.
Well, the best thing was you and Z were the last two off the wheels, and United and Chelsea were there, and Zealand's just done a save game with United for a year. So
yeah,
it's like,
it wasn't.
There is not a winning situation.
Either of us getting United, we both knew we were in for it. So I was kind of pleased for him because he has just streamed a one-season challenge of United, and it'd be torture for his viewers to have to watch it again.
A one-season wonder.
Yeah, a little bit of a reprieve, I guess. And then Kev's got Arsenal, which again, he's probably like, oh yeah, I can't believe my luck. So he's thrilled as well. But yeah, I think just the general, like I've done a massive sell job on Twitter, did a trailer, like did loads of little bits and pieces. And actually the buzz for it, I don't know if Jack really noticed, but the buzz for it and the hype surrounding
I know about the hype, the anticipation of it when it wasn't announced. Every week you get people going, when's the next
exactly.
game?
So,
and obviously with the delay to Football Manager, that's kind of one of the catalysts, I think, where we look at it and go, oh, there's a gap. I mean, for all we know, network games could be cut out of next year's Football Manager at the current rate. So
the last one ever.
Now.
The last one ever. So yeah, it was something that, again, a bit of a labour of love. Getting everyone to agree was a bit of a challenge, but actually, like, I think it's going to be really fun. I think we had 5,000 people concurrently watching it across all 4 streams today, which is wicked for FIFAe in September.
We just need Zealand to learn where the spacebar button is.
That'd be great. I like hovering at the top of the like where it's just continuing. You've got the person that you're waiting for.
Flashing. Well, the thing is, it flashes for you when you're the last person in the network game, and that bugs me. It's like, if you have like a pop-up or something on your totally legitimate stream, you need to close it so you feel about to click on it. Zealand is just immune to that. He just doesn't see it.
I reckon he channels his heart rate to the same time as the flash. He's like, oh, it's on me.
Ben,
loves it. Yeah.
Can I ask you if you know something about Football Manager that you can auto process after a certain amount of time?
But you think, you don't. You say that like, oh, that's obvious. Just do that. You're dealing with Zealand and Cannon Shannon's Twitch.
He won't be happy.
We can't possibly do that in the fear, and also the anger that it upsets slowly and like seeps it like we're on a drip. It's like the anger it puts into me, Jack and Kev, as we sit there going, what is he doing? There's a point today where he did a 15-minute ad spot for Displate.
We were like, what's he doing? He's not even like, is he playing still? We're waiting for him. I choose stream. The game's not up. He's there full screen just getting it out of the box. There's just Christian Pulisic on a metal sheet.
I've created the brand rule, which is if I see brands being advertised, I will force continue you. That is, then we've got to have a certain level.
50%. I think that's fair.
Well, I did say, like, this is great you're doing this, C, but where is my cut? It's interesting that this has just been done off the back of my name almost. So, yeah, so it is what it is. But, like, again, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, it's a very simple Premier League basic network game, but frankly, as sort of shown by the people tuning in today, kind of what people want. So
I mean, we're doing it's one season, isn't it? We're on the latest transfer update. We've given everyone 200 million, so you can bring in a few fun signings, and there's a bit of parity there. No one can say, well, I got no budget and I was stuck with my team kind of thing.
Yeah, there's been some good signings already. Should we go through like ours?
Yeah, please.
I have bankrupted Liverpool. We are over the wage budget by so much that I can only pay Trent, who's in the last year of his contract, £400 to renew.
Okay.
That is because N'Golo Kante has joined on £400,000.
I remember seeing that, yeah.
So I've got N'Golo Kante, Thuram, Rabiot, Upamecano. So I've got like this French core, and then we've just got Frimpong at right back. Trent is playing centre mid.
Didn't you buy a Brazilian?
Yeah, why are you leaving that out for?
Well, he's not registered in the league. He's going to lift the League Cup trophy halfway through the year, isn't he?
Jack?
Well, I'll be honest. I figured that I'd have enough homegrown at club players, and I don't. So Jay Spearing is currently registered for the Premier League in the under 23s. So he might get his time in the sunshine.
Imagine having a former great defensive midfielder in your squad who's clearly past his best. I do have signed Scott McTominay back on loan from Napoli. So, he was the game in it. I've also bought in Leroy Sané and Bastoni, which is a Man United fan. You'd love those two. I've basically upgraded.
Yeah, I think Sane's good. I mean, I'm a Alejandro Garnacho massive fan, but obviously if it's a one-season wonder, kind of understand that. Yeah, absolutely. So I can kind of let that go.
I saw a great tweet today. It's like he has as many goal contributions as Yamal so far this year. I'm sat thinking, like, this is just selectively pick stats to like compare. But it's like definitely the same.
Are we talking about Garnacho? Are we?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's also got the same amount of bicycle kicks as Wayne Rooney for Manchester United, is it?
I love the statue.
A record he'll probably break. Yes, he's got time on his side. Yeah.
I don't know. Rooney did score a banging free kick in a Legends game last weekend.
I saw that. That was a screamer.
You never know. So
bring him out of retirement. Is that what you were suggesting?
Right, at this rate, like, we could, and at this rate, you might play for Bolton very soon. So
let's not put it past anyone. Okay, there's time's on our side. So mate, anyone's in danger of joining Bolton at this point. Anybody.
And what about the other two? Did they make any amazing sign? I mean, Kev. Who did Kev?
Kev signed Neuer.
No, yeah, he's so annoying. And Colo, is it Colo?
Muani.
Yeah, Colo Muani from PSG, or like from PSG, for 88 million, based on the fact his chat recommended it. Which again, the most
Flicking
Kevin
it, really.
Chapman
That's
decision
just
of all
cheating.
time.
Crowdsourcing tactics.
So he's probably bought
Transfers.
right. So he's probably bought wingers. I don't
He's
know.
not bought Americans yet, though. I don't think,
Yes,
which upset me
again.
really.
Plenty of time for that. Pulisic will be en route in January.
I mean, if they got an American manager and American owner, then Americans are going to be coming in, surely.
Inevitably, at least the fan base might turn
True.
into an American fan base. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, we've given ourselves enough money to do some fun things with. A lot of it is now, can we get rid of deadwood? We've all got some deadwood if we can move it on. And Kev is enraged, and Zealand is just, I don't know, something about everything. The roles of all four of us, I feel like, have changed. Z's become a bit of an instigator, and it's been a bit naughty because we've banned installments. And then you've got Jack's being, like, I would say a bit reckless, actually, with your transfers.
I'm just having fun. I've become Kevin, but without the installments when it comes to transfers.
And Kevin's gone quite angry, so Kevin's become me. And I'm just vibe central, stirring the pot as much as I possibly can. I'm having a great time. So yeah, long may this continue.
We're all finding our places.
I say this, I had 2 solid meltdowns over what was happening to me. But other than that, yeah, I was in high spirits.
So,
I think, I'm annoyed because I've just promised Van Dijk he can leave at the end of his contract to go to Saudi Arabia. So he's happy for now, but it's a good job it's a 1-year save because Salah, Trent and Van Dijk are out the door at the end of the year.
Well, we said that all we need is a sponsor to come in and force the second season, and Jack's in real trouble. That's what we really need.
Great news for you, because the 5-Star Potential podcast would love to sponsor you for a second season. I mean, Jack, it might be a £5, but it's a sponsor nonetheless, right?
Jack can have all of it. Jack can have all the money.
Let's go. I can sub to Zealand finally.
You not got Twitch Prime?
Yes.
Well, I just want to sub to him.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, so what about the other two? You say, have you got the save open now?
I actually don't have it open.
And I was wondering about the season preview, who they predicted to be on top.
Oh, Jack. Well, I'm the favourite as Liverpool.
Okay. Yeah, Jack and Arsenal. So it's Jack, then Arsenal, so Kev, then Newcastle are in between me and Z. Okay. So yeah, terrifying. I think I'm just ahead of Z at the moment. United just ahead of Chelsea.
That is mad that Newcastle are there, right? Because we're on a summer transfer update. But you have to imagine that, like, when the FM25 comes around, Newcastle aren't going to be like predicted to finish 4th in the Premier League.
Yeah, but because they got no Europe, I guess, right?
Does the Football Manager algorithm factor that in? I feel like it's more them just overrating like Trippier.
Yeah.
And
we took Villa Champions League, which they worked really hard for away.
Yeah, apologies, Villa fans.
And we took these away.
Gabriel Bonlahor is going to be mental on TalkSport tomorrow when he finds out. He's a nightmare. Okay, cool. Well, so where can people find that? I mean, I know I saw it on Twitch. Where else can they find it?
Wednesday every week, right, at 4 p.m. UK time, running up to the Champions League. And then I think everyone has edited videos of some form of their point of view. You get a unique taste, because we do mute, don't we, between bits and kind of we have our own stuff going on. I think we did pre-season today, but once you get into the matches, I mean, we all play each other really early on. I think I've got all 3 guys in the first 6 games of the year. Yeah. So
next stream should be fiery, really fiery.
Make sure I'm there. Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for that. As we spoke quite a lot about FM24, and we have kind of touched upon FM25 being a little bit late and missing some features, I'd just love to know 2. I was going to say old men of the content creation world, but that's a bit harsh. But
I know we know what we are.
Yeah, 2 old school guys, I'll say. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, of the news that we've been given. Jack, please don't mention your leaks because we don't know if they're official or not. But yeah, just kind of like what we have seen so far. Is it something that you're excited for? Not so excited for? Be as honest as you want. Nick Madden's never going to come back on now anyway, so say what you want.
Well, for me, it's weird. I don't think they've shown enough to really have an opinion. That's kind of been my overwhelming sentiment, especially like the user interface stuff they posted where it's like design documents. So it's not even an engine anyway. And I think often with like user interface stuff, you kind of have to click and interact with it. I don't know about anyone else, but whenever they do like a video of Football Manager or like feature screenshots when they're doing the actual reveals, very often I'm sat there thinking, it looks nice or it looks okay, but I want to click and see what happens when I click that. And the reality is that the interface, I think, is always going to be divisive anyway because it's different. I guess for me, a lot of my thoughts regarding the game aren't necessarily based on what I have seen. It's based on what we haven't yet been shown, but also what we know we won't be shown because it's not in the game this year. Obviously, it sounds like the transition's been a tricky one. I do feel like the messaging around the game is a bit weird, if I'm being honest. I don't know if it's a case of the community have kind of taken what SI are saying and kind of molding it, and it becomes a bit kind of Chinese whispers, and it changes, and you end up in this situation where the messaging is distorted. But it feels like SI are saying more and more stuff about the game without really showing the game. Like there was the interview that went out with Eurogamer this week. Obviously, there was the blog post to international football. It almost comes to a point where it's just like, we're just hearing bad stuff. Like, and the expectations are almost so low. It's like, how hyped am I actually be able to get this year? Like when I quit my content to go full time, I did it with the mindset of there'll always be a football manager. It's not like I'm attached to a flavor of the month game like an Apex Legends or whatever that one day probably won't be as popular. People play football manager. They play it for decades. I've played it for decades. But this is certainly the first version where I'm a bit... I'm excited to see more, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm hyped, if that makes sense. And often at this point, there is that excited anticipation, and I don't really have it right now.
Yeah,
it's anticipation, but more anxiety-driven rather than hype-driven. I think that's probably the best way of describing it.
I think my personal opinion and the opinion of other people that are excited or not excited, and actually, I think some people appear quite angry actually quite already, which is something that hasn't
weirdly
happened.
right, because
maybe
what are you angry about?
They're angry about the fact that they don't know anything, and the things they do know they're not happy with, because it feels like they're going to be paying. The irony is people are going to be paying full price for features that they don't use anyway. And so they're annoyed that these features have gone. It's like, you played versus mode, you played challenge mode, you played draft mode before. No. So when you're saying like you're going to be charged the same amount, like are you trying to judge that now by everyone else's standards or your own? Like I find that kind of interesting. A lot of people say that they play Football Manager in the way that it's designed to be played, which is a single player game the entire year. The things they talk about with their friends are exactly that. Personally, I'm not that concerned because we don't know anything, as Jack says. Like we know what's not there. We don't actually know what's there. So it's easy to be critical about things that are there when we know are there because we know they're there. I actually don't know what it's going to look like, how it's going to play, whether it's going to be fun or not. I think what they've said is quite revealing. I think the way they've tried to undersell it a little bit, to say we're going back to like ground zero a little bit with the game, I think the bit that concerns me the most, because that just suggests that the process is going to be quite long. Whereas I think most people thought there'd be some short-term pain of like 2 or 3 years. Actually making it sound like there might be a little bit longer than that, and it's going to be a development process that we're going to have to sort of endure a little bit. But then maybe after year 3 or 4, we could look at it and go, wow, thank goodness we changed to this new engine, and look at the opportunities that it's given us. And that goes in part with as much as the single player game, but actually some of the online functionality as well, and the opportunity that maybe comes from those features being a little bit more fleshed out. I think that's what people are excited about. I've long been a proponent of the fact that there's 10 million people playing fantasy football, and Football Manager is essentially that, but just long form. And so there should be a bit more crossover. And if they can capture those people, then they are probably your fantasy football players. It's not a coincidence to me that the player base now for Football Manager, numbers-wise, is almost identical to that of fantasy football. Like the player number is around that 10 million, 12 million mark, however you want to look at it. About time, frankly. Like the fact that number of fantasy football was so high and FM was sitting around the 2-3 million mark was a bit suspicious to me. Not suspicious, but strange to me. Ultimately, my attitude towards it is I'm excited to play, and I just want to play, and I want to tell stories, and if there's things that are buggy and problematic in the game, I'm just going to use those to my advantage, which I accept is a very content creator way of looking at things. And
well, you have to look at it that way,
yeah.
Right? Like as much as I'm like pessimistic here in actual videos playing the game, I can't show that side if stuff's. It's the same when I play F1 Manager, ironically, right? The F1 Manager is like a very buggy game. When I stream it, you kind of just have to embrace the crap stuff that happens and make that part of it.
Yeah. My biggest part of me falling in love with Football Manager is that I knew too much and I cared too much about like the intricacies and what was in it and how that felt as a content creator and like the freshness of it. A lot of it actually was just like my own fresh. I wasn't burnt out of the game. I was burnt out of me playing the game. Like, it's actually not the same thing. Like, I was just bored of logging on and doing the same stuff every day. And yeah, it's a very like fortunate job to have, but actually, like any job, there gets to the point where you're like, do you know what? I just don't want to do this. I need something different. And actually, I didn't get sick of the thing I've been doing. Like, obviously, you're familiar. I've been doing GTA roleplay for like 10 months. I didn't get sick of that, but I definitely came to a natural end of that allowed me to come back. And like, it just felt, the timing was just perfect. Everything that happened was perfect. And so yeah, there's a bit of a delay. I'm excited to play the game for the next couple of months on stream, doing stuff with the boys in the network save. And FM25 was like an added bonus of, oh, cool, there'll be this new thing at the end of November. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not worried about it. I am worried about the way in which they're selling it. Like, because I think they're selling that. I think they know they're up against it. Hence their strategy of going pre-warning. None of this is in.
Yeah.
And then at some point they're gonna have to switch that to, but look what's in. And everyone at that point, and I agree with Jack. I think like they've got like, everyone has gone down here, right? Everyone is down here right now in terms of we know nothing and everything we do know is not good. And so how far up can we go? And I think it's gonna be really difficult for them to get it to a 10 out of 10. Like it might be difficult to get it to a 7. I think my concern is the community have already decided it's a bust year. Like you look at Reddit and stuff, you look at Twitter, you look at TikTok, everyone is going, don't pre-order, don't pre-order. Like, if you know you're going to play the game next year and the stuff they show you is exciting, pre-order it.
That's the thing.
Don't feel like that. Don't pre-order it. Like that's actually the same as any game.
Ironically, it's like the whole don't pre-order thing is coming up before the game's even announced for pre-orders, and it's like it's a weird thing because obviously normally the first stuff you hear about a game is positive, so that then they open up pre-orders and people want to buy it. Whereas it's like they've started off with so much negative stuff. Like people are almost in this position where it's like, why would I buy it then?
Yeah,
like,
but
you've now got to give a really good reason for, especially because the game's just been given away on Epic for free. I still feel like that's a bit baffling, like because I feel like SI might have shot themselves in the foot a little bit. If you had people who are holding out, you know, people who buy the game every other year, maybe they bought FM23, saw the blog post saying FM24 is kind of just going to be a, you know, not a stopgap year, but kind of a let's tie a nice bow on it, and then the new era is coming out, so people think I'm not going to play FM24. Those people have now had a chance to digest some of that. Hey, we're removing this, and this. Then claim the game for free, the one that they were planning on skipping. They're only just getting that, so that now feels new. It's like, how do you then incentivize those people 3 months later to buy a game where, at the moment at least, everything that we're hearing about the game is just, here's, you know, that thing that we used to have? That's not in anymore. For all the stuff that's being removed, you've just got to hope they've got some stuff they go, that's in the game now, that's in the game now. And it might not be to the same extent as something like international management, but if it's stuff that applies to more than the 5% of people that play international management, that's very quickly going to get people on side. I mean, I imagine for SI it's very difficult for them because they see these different conversations going online, on podcasts, on Reddit, on social media, you know, just anywhere on the internet, really. And I'm sure they want to say a lot, and yet they're not ready to say what it is they are going to say yet.
Yeah.
And
we're in a difficult spot there, right? Because we're in the spot of, like...
It's natural speculation because...
But this is also our content right now. The content would be reacting to features. There aren't features. We have to talk about the features you removed. And so that's the danger, I guess.
Oh yeah, we're also in a really good position where we've got two different sets of eyes on the game. For example, myself, I'm a hobbyist. Regardless of what I see over the next couple of months, I'm going to be pre-ordering the game. I'm going to be getting the game. I want to play Football Manager. My question to you two is, as people that use this as a job, this is a tool for you to enable you to earn money, you know, do what you need to do for a job. Is it something that scares you, the fact that actually this game could be shocking? It could be very buggy. It could be difficult to work with.
The cynic in me feels like the game can't be bad all year round. Like they've got to fix it. And in some ways, if the game's bad, I don't want to say it's easy to make negative content, but people still watch. Like, I'll still be able to play the game and enjoy it. Other people don't have to play it themselves, but hopefully they still enjoy watching it, just so they can see what the game's like in its current form. I think there's a lot of people, like I said, who don't buy the game every other year because they are just as hobbyists. They're like super passive casual players. And for some of them, watching YouTube videos is kind of how they get that little hit of like Football Manager stuff. Like I said, when I decided to do content full time, I kind of went in with this mindset of there'll never be a bad Football Manager. And every year people go, what's your favorite? What do you think the best Football Manager was? And I always just say, I think the latest one is usually the best. At least by the end of all the patches, it's usually the best. And very often I then find it very hard to go back even 1 year in Football Manager because there's so many little things you don't really realize that have been added. My fear is that this is the first year where it's going to be like not the best version of Football Manager. And I think in a weird way, with all the messaging SI are doing around it, they're almost aware of that. It's then a case of how do you convince people that maybe a slightly downgraded product that has a higher ceiling is worth jumping onto now versus continuing to play what you've already got. Like, from my point of view, I'm going to make content around it. To be honest, the biggest downside of it, and I've seen Kev and a few other people mention this, is basically when it comes to YouTube ad revenue, the highest rates are in the run up to Christmas, kind of through November, all the way to Christmas, and then suddenly the ad rates drop kind of 2.5 times. So if you were getting, I'm pulling a number out of thin air here, but if you were getting $7 per 1,000 views in December, right before Christmas, super high rate, it'll probably be down like at $2 as soon as Christmas is passed. And so with a later release in November, end of November to Christmas is suddenly this like half the time basically to try and get the views in before the kind of yearly adpocalypse where companies have spent all their advertising money pre-Christmas to get ads in front of consumers to spend money, and now they're just trying to get to the end of the financial year and to March before they reset their budgets and have money to actually put into ads again. Okay. So it's going to be interesting to see how people might change their content just kind of with that in mind.
I think as someone that's been, I think you boys would back this, someone that's been one of the most openly critical people in the game for the past 3 years, in and out of their studio, like I'll be even more frank about it. Like, I do put pressure on, I do ask questions that are uncomfortable sometimes. I don't think they ever dislike those questions as much as it creates like quite a, I wouldn't even say hostile, but like I was always competitive back and forth of viewpoints. Like, this year I don't care, and I'll be really transparent about that. And I'm not because I'm shilling for Football Manager. I just have been part of a negative echo chamber with this game in the last few years that I put myself in and created for myself. Because I was frustrated with my own content, I was frustrated with the game, I was frustrated with like lots of things around it. And despite all of the good content I did at that time, the showdown being the example, like, didn't actually have a positive impact on me. And eventually it pushed me away from the game because I stopped doing content that I loved doing and that I think people loved watching, and sort of replaced that with like a grumpy old man. And I actually don't enjoy being that character of me. I enjoy being the Dr. Benjy character of, it sounds a bit wanky, but like I enjoy being that character of it goes wrong, I have fun, we do stupid stuff. I signed in yesterday at Bolton. Like, I prefer to do that sort of stuff opposed to be like functionally, what's this game like? Does this feature matter? Do long throws matter? Do corners, like, does all this stuff matter? Like, I can swear on 5-star, right? I don't give a shit really. Like, I don't really
said wanky.
Yeah, I don't. So. But I don't really give a shit in a sense of like that negativity is actually impacting my ability to enjoy the game. And so, kind of shamelessly this year, I'm not going to be backing them or like under the. Like, if something stupid happens in the game or there's stuff I disagree with, yeah, I'll still say, yeah, I think that's stupid, or like, I don't agree with that, or I don't like that, or that's broken. Like, sure, I'll say those things in the moment, but you won't find me banging the drum against Sports Interactive this year because, frankly, like, it doesn't really have anything to do with the fact whether they want me to do it or not. Like, it's irrelevant. Like, they wouldn't have wanted me to be critical in the past. I was. They don't care if I am or not this time around, I can't imagine. But my job actually is just to enjoy this and continue to do it. Like you mentioned before, if it affects my revenue streams, like, what affects my revenue streams more is me being a grumpy bastard about it and actually not enjoying it. And so if I can avoid that by having a lot of fun with it and enjoying the content around what, like, doing stuff that I want to do, like, there's not all the content out there is for me, but man, there's definitely a niche that I created for myself that I should be taking more advantage of. And sure, like, because it's fun, man. I want to have fun. Like, I want to enjoy it. And hopefully people have seen, there's just like, since I keep mentioning it, right, but since the World Cup, from the halfway through that tournament, there's been a spring in my step for all of this. And so, like, I'm not trying to sit myself back down when I'm enjoying it so much right now. So yeah, like, I don't care, but I do care. But doesn't mean I'm going to act on it this year. Because
the thing is, it's like, until we know what the game's actually like, it's so hard to have an opinion.
If like, it's a broken mess, Jack, how funny is that, man?
Like, the issue I have is that there are people who,
as long as Indonesian tactic work, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I want no tactics to work. I want no one to win a game. Can you imagine the first person to win 3 in a row?
It's just funny because I think there's people online who I've read who say, "Oh, the content creators aren't being positive enough," or they're speculating. And then there's people saying, "Oh, they're being too positive." And I think often if you're getting criticised from both sides for just basically saying it's too soon to have an opinion, you're probably like in an okay spot.
Like, you can ask the really blunt questions, right? Are you worried about F125? Yeah. Sure I am. So what do we do about it? I'm not a developer. I don't work on the game. Am I concerned about it? Yeah, I think some of the stuff that's been announced is bad. I think the fact that the international management isn't there is really poor. Like, I think the fact the fantasy draft mode's not there is annoying because it affects some things I really want to do, and it affects the tournament that I loved recently. Like, all of those things are frustrating. Am I gonna spend every day complaining about it? No. Like,
You've changed.
I know, but I actually have though, Jack, because I did spend every day complaining about it. But I'm not trying to be that guy for the people around me. And equally, like, I'd rather just have fun, which I understand is not necessarily. Like, if people are really angry and feel like they want us to be ambassadors for them, I understand that's frustrating. It's not my job anymore. I did that
just
for
hope
5
the match
years.
engine looks good.
Oh yeah, I hope it. As long as it looks like FIFA 25, right, guys? That's what we all hope and like.
It's all everyone's been asking for.
But we'll see. As soon as it comes, like, you think we're not going to be honest? As soon as we see it, they're going to see my face when I want to do a reaction video, and it looks like FM12 again. I'm going to go like that.
My biggest concern is they show us stuff and everyone just goes, "That's it," kind of thing. Because I feel like they're trying to manage expectations, but everyone's like, they've got to have an ace up their sleeve. There's got to be something they show us and we go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, I can remember the feeling I had with F1 Manager, and I hate to bring this game up again, but we knew that Frontier were working on an F1 Manager game, and when the first gameplay trailer came out, in my head, I'd kind of mentally prepared for the fact it looked like Football Manager's 3D. And the game looks like, obviously, it's on such a smaller scale, Formula 1, the number of cars, the number of circuits. First time it came out, I'm sat thinking, oh my God, it looks so good. Like, and it kind of, it was this mind-blowing moment where it's like, even if it's a buggy mess, if the game looks good, it's kind of okay for content. And I think the biggest issue my biggest worry for Football Manager is if they, having talked about this new engine move, having switched engines, if we look at it and go, just looks like FM24, like it's just the same, that will be a really awkward conversation, I think, to
honestly,
have.
Ben 18 months ago would have lost his head. This year, I'm going to be cracking up because that is so funny. If we've waited all this time,
that's my vision of what's going to happen. We're all going to look at it and go, it's just the same. It's the same stadium show, the same wheelchair placements,
it's going to be the
same
Spider-Man
benches.
gift of 23, looking at 24, looking at 25, going, are we not all the same? What's just gone on? Oh, bro, Jack? Can you imagine
that is what I in my head, that's what I'm prepared for at this point,
mate.
and I think it'd be very funny.
So I'm not. I actually think it'll be a middle ground. I think it won't be at the level that everyone wants it to be at, but it'll be way above the level that we've had previously, and it'll just be sat in the middle somewhere. But
I can just imagine they have like the Premier League theme tune playing. They have the Premier League transitions really dramatic, and it just cuts to the game looking the same as it's already looked for years.
And if anyone at SI is listening to this, please, for your safety, do not drop this on a Wednesday between 4 and 9 p.m.
Can you imagine if we react live? Oh God. Can you imagine if they put it out as we're doing the network game?
Like, you're just all doing the network save and bang, it drops.
Mate, we normally get 5,000 views. We'll have 15,000 that day, and people will be fascinated. Can you imagine? If anything, actually, now I say that, by all means, release it then. But yeah, I'm apprehensive, but in the sense of like, I'm still excited. Like, it's a big change. It's a big jump. Is it
excitingness? Is it excitingness out of genuine excitement, or is it a bit like me? Because I feel like I'm anxious excited. It's like, I just want to please show me something so I know what I need to calibrate my life to be. Because like you said, Doop, at the end of the day, we've built careers off the game, and we're fortunate to be in that position, and we have to be appreciative of the fact the game exists at all for us to be able to do that. But inevitably, if you are somebody who works on the game, like obviously it's your career, it's your livelihood, but like it does affect your bottom line if the game succeeds or not. But we're almost at the whims a little bit more in terms of when the game comes out, however it comes out, we have to deal with that and make content off it. And I don't know. You see some games that have, like, seem to have really successful transitions between engines, and then there's other games like City Skylines 2, like eFootball, games that, let's be honest, they're still recovering from the issues they've got now, and there is just this I guess anticipation to find out what have they been cooking. Is it a case of they've made it painted it so bad in yet? You know, like when you're a kid and you did something wrong, you think my parents are going to kill me, right? I need to over-explain it and be really honest with them, and this is what Football Manager done, and then they kind of go, here's how it looks, and we all go, oh, it looks fine, like kind of thing. It could be like that, or it could be as bad as they're making it out to be.
If you're listening to this, watching this, and you want to know how bad this game's going to be, or is, let's jump to the future. If it's January and the content
game isn't out
yet. No, there's also that. If it's January and the content creators are talking about starting a Minecraft server, you know the game's shit.
We're already talking about it. We're already
already preparing it, aren't we?
We already talked about it pre-podcast. We were like,
all I'm saying is,
Minecraft
are changing how their updates roll out, so it's more like frequent patches. We could be sort of doing Minecraft videos for the next year.
We'll have to be cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to rename the pod. Do a Minecraft pod instead. Anyway, I think that's enough negativity.
5 block potential.
To be clear, I don't think we're being negative here, though. I think we're just being kind of honest.
No, of course.
I don't think it is all negative. It's just that thing where it's like, in my head, it's hope for the best, mentally preparing for the worst, because you kind of have to do that when it's your career on the line.
I think both for a win, Doop. I think no matter what happens, this is hilarious. If it's brilliant, oh my God, it's brilliant. If it's not brilliant and everyone's furious, I'm going to have so much fun because I'm in such a good place.
Can I
don't really care.
In case it is terrible, can we get you back on the pod? That'd be fantastic. I'd love to know.
I'd love that. I'd be on weekly.
The real alarm bells will go off. The real alarm bells will be when they go, there's no early access beta this year. That's when we're in serious trouble if that happens. So.
No, it's when they invite us to go and test it or go and play it the week before. Everyone knows we do that, right? It's not a surprise. We go and test it. It's just it's a PowerPoint we have to flick through because it's not actually ready yet. That'll be the point where I'll go for. So I actually am worried now.
It is weird, the testing. Now they announced they were going to have people like from the local area come in and test the game, and that's now been delayed.
Yeah.
Anyone playing the game at the end of September is not influencing how the game shapes up when it releases at the end of November. It's like they're trying to get people in. And I assume they want to see how they take to playing the new user interface.
We'll see it.
I can't wait.
And if everyone goes into these focus tests and just comes out and goes, well, that's bloody awful. Like so they just go, right, pack it up. It's going to be so interesting to see. Or is it a case of, right, we have all these learnings for FM26, let's just try and get FM25 out the door.
Go on, Doop.
I was going to say, it's when they've delayed it for the 4th time and then all the graphics on the website just slowly, the 5 merges into a 6 and we actually don't get an FM25. We just get a data update.
What is worst case scenario? Is it they remove network games? Is only a 2D match engine? What's the worst thing they can remove that's not already gone?
Oh, man, I was so much better at the game. Yeah. In 2D, I'll be real. I was so much better at the game.
Bring only commentary back.
I'll tell you what, I've never really played only commentary since like a CM. It would have been like 2003 before CM4 had 0304 had the 2D. In the FIFA Eve World Cup, having to play through games, had to play a season in 9 hours. I'd never played so much text only in my life. Like, it was an experience.
Do you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Let's just we'll side skirt what we were talking about FM25 as we've both got you on as well, and Jack was at the World Cup. I was going to say he did well, but
top 16 in the world.
I mean, invited. So you know. I mean,
does that mean I'm top 16, Jack, with my performance with Sporting on stream?
You didn't do it with the lights on you, mate. Anyone can play football.
The lights on behind.
Well, I got the lights everywhere, mate. Got loads of lights. Anyway, go on.
You didn't have a clone of yourself sat next to you, getting you the only draw of the league season.
Are you saying Tom's a clone of you?
No. So in the second league season, me and Tom win 33 out of 34 games and drew 1. The one game we drew, Ben came over in the second half, sat next to us, they scored, he walked away and we drew it. So okay. I don't want to say he's the curse, but
same thing to Germany, by the way. Same thing to Germany. My bad. Sorry, my German brothers.
But as we both got you on, and you're both heavily involved in the FIFA World Cup, I'd just love to know just your thoughts. What did you get up to? Just really quickly, because we are quite late into this pod already. But it'd be silly not to talk about it. So, Jack, tell us about what you did.
So. A venture started in May where I randomly got an email from at FIFA.com email. I thought that's a bit sketchy. I emailed someone at SI and was like, are you doing something with FIFA? Because I've just got this random message where they're like, we can't tell you anything and it's NDA'd. Person at Football Manager went, yeah, I think we are. But it was a very kind of, I don't know what they're up to. And about a week later, I was on a plane to Switzerland with Seki Alucard to film some TV ad stuff.
Did you see him in the toilet? Is what I want to know.
I did get to see him in the toilet. I'll be honest. Wow. I've never seen so many men in one toilet cubicle. You
haven't been to one of my parties before.
No, I'm still waiting for the invite. So hit a brother up. But after that,
by the way, Doop, were you looking forward to next weekend? Anyway, sorry, Jack.
Sorry, what?
I've actually met Jack now, so it's okay. We've got over that now. We've actually met in person.
But, so then I got contacted by England, and they were basically like, "Look, there is no esports football manager scene. We need people who we think can handle basically what is going to be kind of
Who would you recommend?
probably a lot of media duty stuff. We want you to compete. We're looking at RDF as the other person. What do you think of that? I was like, yeah, big thumbs up.
Yeah.
I think that's a good setup. I think one of the things that perhaps people watching from home who weren't in attendance won't realise is there was, I don't want to say a lot of pressure, but I think there was a lot of extra demands from RDF, myself, Matt and Tom as the English representatives, with it being in England, with the production being in English, to basically, I don't want to say set a tone for the weekend, but I was first out in the press conferences. RDF and I were pulled aside right at the start of the very first broadcast after the group stage draw to appear on camera, first managers to speak. There was kind of a lot of extra bits outside of the just playing Football Manager that I think kind of factored into the decision where England were like, we need people who are going to be quite good ambassadors, I suppose, and good representatives of the show and the Football Manager community. But yeah, I got contacted by England, was pointing them in the direction of RDF. I picked out Tom as my assistant just because I felt like when you're spending 30 hours playing Football Manager in 3 or 4 days, kind of needs to be someone who you know you're going to get along with.
No way you could have picked me, is what you're trying to say. No,
I
I would have been driven insane.
I would have said no as well, by the way. If just to be clear, Jack, just be my ease. I would have said no.
Yeah. But yeah, we got involved in it. We had a photo shoot at Wembley, which was a bit bizarre, just turning up at Wembley security on a day where there's not a sporting event. Like, I'd never really done that before. I got lost. I got lost, which was fun. I got shown Gareth Southgate's office. Okay. This was obviously after he'd been announced to leave, and it was quite a sad sight. There was just a Dyson fan left on the desk and his name still on the door, but the rest of it was just gutted out. It was like, at what point is it right for Lee Carsley to move in? Like, it was a really, really cool experience. Obviously, the tournament itself was over 5 days, 4 days of me having to stream. Sadly, didn't make it through to the Sunday. It was a format where we had to play a season every day, and there was 20 nations split up into 4 groups of 5. Each group was assigned a different team to manage, and it was a bit of a format that going into it, I was like, how is this going to work? Like, no one's ever really done player versus player Football Manager, where it's people playing as the same team and then trying to score them against one another. I think for a first event, what I think was widely accepted was a bit of an experiment, a bit of a test event. It was like a massive success in terms of
it was a great idea,
what it delivered.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get a chance to run it back again. I don't know if I'd want to be... Well, no, you know what? I would want to be competing in it again, but being realistic, I think having just experienced it, just to be involved in any way would be absolutely amazing. And yeah, it was a bit of a crazy, surreal Football Manager moment. Certainly nothing that even 6 months ago I could have said, I think this is where Football Manager's ever going to be. Unless you were there, I think it's hard to grasp just the scale of the production and how huge it actually was. I know it's a bit of a cliche thing to say, but it was a big budget Football Manager competitive event. I don't like calling it an esport, but I think as far as competitive Football Manager goes, it's the pinnacle so far, and hopefully it's the kind of thing where that pinnacle can kind of be pushed even higher, get the peak even higher with what it can be going forward.
Awesome.
It was comfortably the best thing I've ever done. Like, it was easily the best thing I've ever done. I love the showdowns. I love everything I've done on YouTube. Ultimately,
just so people who didn't watch it, Ben, what was your role in
that? I was brought in as on-screen talent, which, I mean, no surprise there. Come on, guys. But you guys know me a little bit, obviously, behind camera as well. A lot, actually, you both know me very well behind camera. It was a bit of a gamble for me to do, I'll be real. Like, I've not been in the scene for a long time. I was very fortunate that, obviously, my history in the game enabled the opportunity. And actually, I give a lot of credit to Spencer, who I think probably was a part of putting my name forward. Obviously, me and him got on very well. I also think, like, the way that group was structured, myself, Spencer, Kev, Will and Dave, as well as Chelsea, obviously he was new to all of it. Like, it was the perfect group of people to do that presentation. And like, even having Zealand in the role that he was in, Clates in the role that he was in, like everything. And actually, like, Jack's right, there was a pressure on England to do that sort of ambassadorial role. And actually, me and Kev felt that as well. We were there in a similar capacity but on behind camera as much as on camera, to be like, and they were good about it. They said, like, if there's anything you need to teach us, we brought you in as experts, be our experts. And you boys have both worked with me. I'm not afraid to give my opinion on anything related to that, especially when it comes to showdowns and stuff. And there was definitely things I'd learned from showdowns and things that we've done, and like us three have done collectively, with the likes of Nerdphonic and others to go, actually, like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And that was invaluable to them, actually, like in the first couple of days of being there, looking ahead to the draft, looking ahead to the broadcast at the end. Like it was a really important time to speak to people that frankly aren't big like fans or players of the game, and they were very receptive to that, and that was really important from a broadcast perspective. Jack's right, unless you were there, you probably will never understand the scale of what was going on. I remember arriving on the Tuesday night. Obviously there was the Tuesday night, then the tournament essentially started on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday were the 2 live days. But I arrived on the Tuesday afternoon after a long train journey from east to west, and walking around the venue like, what the is going on here? Like, this is ridiculous. But also the comfort that I gained immediately from the people that were there. And again, people that you would never see on camera and will never probably hear of, but people that have worked for Sky and BT and Amazon and worked on some major like production stuff that made me so at ease with what we were doing, as well as the boys that I did it with in Chelsea as well, who'd come from America. Like it was ridiculous. And so, yeah, doing bits to camera, being a key part of press conferences, as Jack said, setting the tone for the event was a major part of it, making ourselves feel accessible to the managers. And like Jack would have felt this as well. There was 20 nations there, right? There's 40 managers there. Most of them knew who I was, or knew who Jack was, or knew who Kev was. And so us even just going over and saying hello was like quite a nice moment for them. And actually, they realised quickly, we're not going to be on this pedestal of on-screen talent. We're actually going to go around, chat with them for 5-10 minutes, sit with them for longer at times, like mingle with them after and before like the tournament's going on as well. But the after party was a lovely like get together of managers that had a really great weekend actually. And so there's a reason I'm so enthused about doing stuff right now. Again, I've mentioned it a few times in this pod, right? Like it's a massive factor of seeing people enjoy it and love it, and have just like, there was no negativity, there was no animosity, there was no like bitchiness or sniping or like, I didn't have one bad interaction for 5 to 6 days in a professional work environment at a competitive event. That's pretty crazy. Like not one. I couldn't even name half a one where it was like, oh, that was a bit frosty.
I met a lot of the different FA representatives who were kind of there, and in terms of like nation-based esports, like the main one is EAFC. Obviously, Rocket League is something FIFA are looking to do, and they were saying kind of, you know, they've been to EAFC/FIFA events in the past, and it's always a bit bitchy, and people don't want to like, you know, mingle or whatever. And this was kind of, it was almost like a festival of Football Manager, like in a weird way. I hope if they were to do another event, they'd kind of lean more into that, where they make it kind of a celebration of Football Manager, and this tournament is the centerpiece of it, because I think that could work amazingly.
Yeah.
I think the most exciting thing from my point of view is just being able to show Sports Interactive, hey, this is actually what's possible with your game. I'd like to think that for people like Miles and other SI representatives who were there not just on the last day, some of them were there throughout most of the competition just to kind of, I think, take notes, see how it's being played. I'd like to think a lot of those people went back to the SI officers and were like, we have to do more with draft mode. There's got to be more we could do here. And it kind of maybe a little bit of a fire. I feel like when you look at, well, multiplayer video gaming, it's obviously such a massive space, and Football Manager's just never really done anything with it. Like, we've had half-hearted attempts like versus mode, you know, where it dropped halfway through this year if you had FMFC. And being frank, like, no one's playing it because there's no incentive to play it. It's like having an online friendlies mode in, I hate to use EAFC as the reference, but it's the football game that has a multiplayer online. You know, people don't just want to play a one-off friendly with their imported team. They want to be able to do more with that. And I think for a lot of people, they kind of left it feeling inspired, thinking, you know, wow, what could Football Manager really be when it comes to the multiplayer elements?
I think, like, I mean, personally, obviously with Ben sat here, it's difficult not to blow smoke up his ass when I mention it, but the whole showdown side of things kind of really dipped everyone's toes into what it could be, and this obviously has taken it to an absolute complete different level. But it's just nice to see people playing it competitively. I loved the format. I thought it was a really nice spin on it, and how you all played from that exact same start point. And I think it was a really good way of doing it, instead of just seeing draft after draft after draft. And from what I saw, I didn't see it all. Unfortunately, I was very busy over that weekend, which is why Jack didn't pick me to be the manager. Wasn't it, Jack?
Sorry,
because
it's why Doop turned it down, I think is the phrase you're for there, Doop. But
but yeah, I think from what I've seen, I've actually went into work, spoke to people at work who've never mentioned that they play Football Manager, seen Football Manager before, and said, "Oh, you play Football Manager? Yeah, I was watching this on what so and so. Oh, thought it was really good, which was awesome. Do you know what I mean? And it is bringing that to different audiences that we never knew was kind of a thing. So I think you both got to be proud of what you did. I mean, Jack, we could have done a little bit better with the scoring, but hey, we'll let you off this time,
honest. I'd like to think that in a future year, the scoring would be tweaked, specifically looking at what happened with Tom and I. I mean,
definitely not.
Can I give my defense? I mean, it was crazy. We had 9 losses in 3 seasons.
Too many.
Lose domestically in the last 2 seasons.
Can't be the best in the world if you lose in 9 games. Do you know what I mean? Can't happen.
That's true. I mean, to be fair, the circumstances for some of them were funny. We already knew that we weren't going to make it through the last day. We made it through to the first knockout round of the Champions League. We had John Terry come over and do our draw. We actually got John Terry in game doing the draw of the Champions League.
Love that. Saw that.
Having the same building. So we got him over, got him to hit the start draw button, and we got Napoli. Came up as Parthenope. I'm now having to explain to John Terry why it's called Parthenope and not Napoli, to his bemusement. And then we got our goalkeeper injured. Like the second half of the Champions League away from home, having already had 3 stoppages in play, one of which had been for an injury. Ironically, we still had a sub left and a goalkeeper on the bench, but apparently...
Sorry, Deep, did you say you could make excuses? Or because I didn't actually hear you allow this to go on.
I'll be honest. It's more the...
writing them down, Ben. It's fine.
Yeah. Dave, edit this out.
It's more the fact that I've played a lot of Football Manager, and to have a goalkeeper get injured in that game, in that circumstances... was just the perfect summary of that weekend for me.
Yeah.
I remember.
I'll say one thing, Deep, right? We can talk about, me and Jack can talk about this for hours. It was fun. Yeah. It was really, really fun. And it was, and I had so much, like, everyone I met was having fun. And so no matter how competitive you think it was, how well you think it was done, not a single person
how good the competitors were.
Yeah, not a single person was watching that event thinking, I've not had fun. Every single person left went, I don't want to leave. I think that's how
Can we come back next year?
Yeah, that's how everyone felt. Like, is there going to be another one? Is there going to be another one? That was the most commonly asked question by everyone: production, managers, players.
And the reality is now we don't know. Like, very openly, it was a test event. I think even on one of the first blog posts that came out, they were like, "This is a test event." They didn't work with Football Manager on this event, which is a bit bizarre. Like, Football Manager just kind of gave their blessing. We're like, "Yeah, do what you want with our game." I'd like to think there'll be a lot more hands-on with the next one, having seen what it can be.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. What was you saying?
No. Do you know what? I actually think I was going to be silly. I was just going to say that my favourite moment was I actually was watching Jack's stream, and Jack was complaining to Cult of FM about a game where the opposition scored 2 goals, and both of them were like offside or they shouldn't have counted. He then went into the replay to show them both perfectly legitimate goals.
I will point out that was very, very deliberate for people who don't know. FM works on the match engine team.
Yeah. Of course it was. Yeah,
so,
brilliant. Well done, Jack.
I'm going to come back to you, Jack, one last time. Ben has summed it up as fun, like literally, and an awesome way. Can you just sum up the event for me?
Sum up my performance, Jack, please.
Fun.
Thank you.
Is that... No, honestly, from the production point of view, like, I watch a lot of esports and stuff. It might be the first esports event I've ever witnessed where there was no tech delays during any of the broadcast bits, or if there were, they were very well hidden. The whole thing was ran so well. I think there was a lot of kind of, I don't think this is a disrespectful thing to say, but kind of making it up as we go along, because just a Football Manager event like this had never been done. Obviously, they've been planning, but constantly remaining agile to kind of adapt to situations and just as things came up. Yeah, I think it's a platform for more.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. And I think that's probably a really nice way to kind of round that off. And I think I'm going to spare you a quiz this week, gents, because I can't be asked. I'll be honest. I hate the quiz so much. I hate it so much, and I don't want it in the pod. And it's my decision, and I'm not going to do it because no one's here to tell me so.
Did we have fun, Deep, on this podcast? Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. No quiz needed for artificial fun. We're not in lockdown anymore. We don't need Zoom quizzes.
I want to say, for quiz lovers everywhere, I love a quiz, and if I come back on this podcast, it'll be a surprise after Deep's admission. I've had great fun being enhanced with the quiz, but you know what, Deep, if that's all...
When you have to sit... I can do it. I got it here. No, when you sit here for 300 podcasts... You have to listen to Mad's fucking quizzes, honestly. honestly.
I was
this is
shocked when you said the number of episodes you guys are on now. It's like it's over a year's worth. I could listen to a pod every day of the year.
You know, that's fucking great maths, Matt. Mate, Matt? Crikey.
Wow.
Jack. Your name's Jack. That's great.
Can
That's great
confirm.
maths. Yeah, I know. It's mad, isn't it? And do you know what? We still get listeners, which is even more surprising.
You know, you saying that there, you saying thanks for that, Jack, was my one story from Liverpool. And it's, don't get me wrong, I'm picking myself up. But I was recognised in a pub in Liverpool at 10 at night, and the Spencer is there, of course. Will's there, Dave's there, like some like big names in our industry. And me and Kev are sat at the end of the bar. This guy walks around everybody, ignores everybody, comes up and goes, "You're Dr. Benjy." Like, couldn't believe it, and just looked at me and just went, "That's the Lou Show." Didn't say he liked his videos, didn't say he's enjoying his content. Just walked off again. And Kev went, "He's just told you who I am." It's like you don't know.
You should have been like,
you're on a
"Oh, it
speed
is."
date and you didn't know. Oh my god, it is! He's been talking to you for an hour.
We were there, one of the FIFA guys who was like a bit bemused, like, "Who are you? Why are you known in a random pub in Liverpool?" And I was just sitting there looking at Kev going, "Yeah, that is weird, isn't it, Kev?" Oh, wow, can you believe that's happened to us? Or, well, me, I guess. Like, Kev was like, "You told me who you are. You told me who I am." he was really annoyed. But for anyone that wants to put Illusio's ego in check, it was a great day. It was a great day for us all.
That day. If you're ever near Lelugio and anyone else, make sure you just ignore Lelugio and go straight to the next person. It's definitely the way forward.
It happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one.
Okay, as we were talking about episode numbers, that will bring episode 371 to a close. You can find links for all of us in the podcast description or by visiting 5starpotential.com, where you can find all of our latest Football Manager content. 5-Star Potential is available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and most of our popular podcast apps and platforms, with a new podcast released every single week. Thank you all for listening. There'll be more from us next week. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
You smashed that there. Thank you for having us on.
Sixth
really
take
good.
as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah.
Thanks
Great
for
one,
editing
great one,
that.
Doing
Dave.
the magic.